Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? All right. Hi, John. Hi, Miles. I'm getting error messages. You guys able to hear me okay? I wonder what the latency is. Yeah, not sure if this stream is actually working very well. Oh, hi, Benjamin. Nice to see you, buddy. Hi, Ron. All right. Well, let's just kick this thing off then. So, crude oil's already done its job. That was pretty easy. I wasn't watching at the moment. I'm not sure how fast this triggered in. It seems like there might have been enough time to grab it. You could see it hitting its targets. If for any reason it was too fast, which I just can't tell. All right, hey guys, hi Crypticon, hi Wilson. There was a short here as well, and that one, obviously, after a stop and reverse adjustment on the dark blue trade, that one stayed short and also came down and hit all its targets. So crude oil, a couple opportunities to get that done really quick and efficient. By the time that second trade hit target two, it's literally 13 minutes in and finished. So either the first trade or the second trade. All right, so you grabbed that, John. Good. That's good to know. Hi, Pamela. How are you? So, I mean, there's not much more to talk about on crude oil here unless anyone has any specific questions. Of course, the report is tomorrow because of the holiday shortened week. Tomorrow at 11 will be the crude oil inventory report. I think I'm going to log in and do that with you guys. I'll have to reconfirm that. Either myself or John will handle that. But I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that one. All right. Good to hear that, Pamela. Nice. Welcome, welcome. And the market's just opening up right now. Looking for a setup on the YM in a moment. Hopefully, if we get one in a moment. And soybeans. Soybeans, I mean, that one was off to the races now with another trade that was also rather quick. So, soybeans with two great trades, both of which too fast to execute. So, we're going to have to wait on that and see if we get another one. Pound Aussie almost got to a target one, just missed. Money management, break even trade, and a short. Got to adjust that below the 200 moving average. So looking like 87, 83, 87. And that's still valid, but you don't want to get short right on top of support. You want to at least see it break through. Which it hasn't done yet. Markets are off and running here. Soybeans, another fast trade. Really no time to execute on that. Yeah, very good, Pamela. It's nice to see you. FOMC minutes today. Yes, thank you, John. There's a short on soybeans right there. 13.22 and 3/4. You can see those nice big targets. Morning to you, Bruce. Look at, oh, there's a long on the YM, 34,471. 34,471. And triggering in 34,471. And that is off and running, already hitting its money management. And you want to move your stop to break even if you got in on that. Definitely took some quick maneuvering there, but that was tradable. Gave you enough time to execute on it, and hitting its first objective, target one, 28 points. Move your stop to break even if you haven't done so. Hopefully you're able to jump on that one. So the YM is already done too with its first trade of the morning. Spotlight hitting on all cylinders so far. Haven't looked at unleaded gas. Quick look. Yeah, so this little trade here, I don't know how long that was something that could have been executed on. Have to drill down on that one. You can see the nice winner that followed to the short side. It's looking to me like unleaded gas is finished as well. Oh, thanks, John. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for the reminder. Appreciate that. So soybeans got into this purple trade here and has not yet made it far enough down. It's a pretty big size trade actually for soybeans. Oh yeah. Yeah, sure thing, Ron. Boy, everything's just firing away. So the pound to Aussie short. Oops. So on the YM, I set my stop and reverse adjustment to false. There's not a whole lot of things to change here. I do have a couple additional setups, but these are not really true to the plan. These are additional setups. You could either use them or not. You have to decide if you want to use them. It's the same as the yellow trade off the 50 moving average, but it also enables that setup off of the 20 SMA and the 200 EMA. So you have to decide if you're going to put those to true or not. Yeah, and MYM is not the same as YM. You might want to change your EMA cross from 20 to 8. That's something that I do. And then your key level adjustment set to true. Should look like this. That's how I have them set up. Ron, you weren't talking about the MYM, were you? Come on, guys, hit that like button. Got a bunch of people in here and 3 likes. You could do better than that, please. Like. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm sorry. What, MYM or YM? There's a bit of a delay between when I talk and when you respond, and by the time I get your response, I think I'm already like on to the next subject. So I forgot already what I asked you. MYM. Yeah, so that's going to be totally different. It's not the same. So soybeans came down. Look at that. Even though the system thinks it's in the green trade, but it's not. It's in this purple trade. Just hit target 2. So that's pretty nice. 17 ticks, 26 ticks, $12.50 a tick. So even with the crazy, zany, fast-moving market, the trade that was finally tradable comes down and hits its target objectives pretty nicely there. So soybeans is done. If we want to look at the MYM, just copy the YM and change the symbol. But it's a different market. It's a different quote. It's not going to be exactly the same. And why did that fail? Let me try that again. MYM U21. So what happened here, the reason why you didn't get the long trade is because the OSOB indicator is different. I mean, it just responded differently. You have your, right here, that should give you the blue long trade, but then instead you get the little pink bar poking up, which gave the short trade, which even though it triggered in a matter of, very fast, that's what canceled the blue. The pink trade canceled the blue, missing the long trade. It's just how the code works, the way the software is coded. So if you look at, again, it's pretty nuanced, but it just shows you there's a data variation. It's not the same market. So it's just not the same symbol, not the same anything. So if you look at this, notice that there is no pink bar here to cancel the blue condition, which gave the blue trade. You see? That's the difference. Just a tiny little difference like that changed everything. Now, in the past, before I had the code written, because we had to make decisions based on what's possible with code. I mean, if I was trading this manually before I had the calculator and I was just following the rules of my system, I would have not canceled the blue oversold condition, and I would have been on that trade manually. But the code needs to be written in such a way, otherwise something just stays on forever. The computers can't think for themselves. So there's always limitations when it comes to artificial intelligence. You can see that the short trade is the same on both. Well, let's look. Maybe it isn't. Yeah, the short trade's the same because that's based on the green line getting above your 0 line here, which it did on both charts. So that one ends up being the same. $34,544 on the MYM, and on the YM 34,544. So that's the same trade, coincidentally. So feel free to ask any questions about anything. Getting closer and closer to boot camp day. Today's July 7th. I can't believe June just flew by. I was looking forward to the summer, and all of a sudden I blinked a few times and June was gone. And now we're a week into July. Boot camp starts in 3 weeks. Yeah, sure thing, Ron. And that green trade coming down, hitting its target objective. So if you got that one, if you're in the MYM, that would have been your next trade. Hitting a 37-point target, not bad. And crude oil just continues to trade amazing today. These high prices make for nice swings. How did the Russell do? Yeah, a quick short on the Russell. See how finely tuned those targets are? But that was too fast. And the next one, I don't know, had like 9 seconds. It looks like it might have been tradable. I think it probably was. You could tell by the wick. You probably had time. So a nice winner. The next one, it's just hard to tell if you have enough time on some of these because it just goes right on through the entry. So, but you can just see winner after winner after winner. Make an adjustment around the line on that. Yeah, yes, John. I intend to do that. Change things up a little. Ram, can you show us the mechanics of using the bracket orders? Can we place a trigger order based on? Yes, Ram, exactly. That's exactly what you should do. And I'm glad you're asking that question. That is how you trade. You set up a template and you continue to reuse it over and over. And I have a video where I walk through that specifically. And I'm going to find that video for you. You could set it up on Ninja the same way, using their dome with the way that you could set up templates, or you could set it up on TradeStation with their matrix. Hello, Keith. John asking if we're going to stay here on YouTube with the trade room for the time being. Yes, and if I change anything, of course, I will notify everybody in advance. I haven't decided what to do long term, but that's what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, Ron, sure, you could ask about FX Synergy. 1 second, Ram. I'm going to find you what you're asking about. It's one of the earlier videos I put on my channel when I started Backpacktrader. Such an important topic. I'll find it for you. Yeah, so if you're using NinjaTrader, you would just use the same concept and then set it up the way NinjaTrader works, but the same idea, basically. I literally use 3 matrices for different purposes, and I explain it so well in the video, it's easier just to give you that so you can watch it as many times as you want till you get it. Yeah, no, Ron, I don't know what that means. I'm guessing trade disabled. I don't know. I mean, it could be a number of things. You want to make sure that you have enough cash in your account for the type of risk you're putting on and the margin they require. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It might. So there's a chart trading. Let's see. Let me give you a couple links. I'm not sure if that's actually the one that you want. Yeah, without looking at this video, I can't remember if this is the one you want. But here's one link you can check out, and then I know I have one specifically to what you're asking, and I'll find that one also. Oh, no wonder. It's the third one. This goes way back. All right, I found it. There you go, Ram. Check that out. If you haven't subscribed to the Backpacktrader channel, please do so. At least then you get notified when we go live. Yeah, you got to make sure that you've got the symbol in your list and that FX Synergy recognizes the symbol. You might have to send a ticket into support at pecuniasystems.com. So, Ram, that second video link I gave you is what you're after, not the first one. The first one's about chart trading, but the second one has the templates and the way I've got my matrix set up and how I use stop limit orders, stop market orders, and then single market orders depending on the situation. And so you're going to want to see that video because there's several steps in setting it up. So check that out and then feel free to follow up if you have additional questions. The whole idea is you want to use the stop limit orders to avoid slippage getting into trades. But if you have a stop and reversal, I always flip over to the market order matrix, same template, but instead of a stop limit order, it's a stop market order. Because what I found is that a lot of times you try to stop and reverse, and while you get out of your first trade, you don't get triggered into the reversing trade with the limit order. And then that goes on to win, and that sucks. So you got to kind of bite the bullet and pay a little slippage on the reversing order and get in with a market order. So I just, instead of fiddling around trying to change my settings on the matrix, I just have a second matrix set up that I could toggle. It's hiding behind the main one with the stop limit orders already set up. And so with a click of the mouse, I could pull up the market order matrix and quickly execute like that. So I cover that in that video. With TradeStation 9.5, which is what I still prefer and use, the chart trading does not allow stop limit orders, only stop market orders. But TradeStation 10 does allow stop limit orders on chart trading. So that's interesting. I think stop limit orders are important because that slippage could really add up. I mean, it really steals your lunch. I'll be back in a moment, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. John Ford, with your range bar speed question, it's usually at the beginning of the sessions, like when the sessions are just starting. The markets can go really fast. You get used to it. If it's not tradable, it's just you go to the next one. I always look at the timestamp when I'm testing my trade plan, and if it's you know if it's under 10 seconds between bars, from one bar to triggering in to closing the bar that triggered in, I figure it was too fast to trade. And then if I can get in sync with it, I will. So sometimes it might trigger in too fast, but then it gives you multiple chances to get into the entry. You got to practice, you got to learn it. Plus, one thing good about range bars is you can anticipate where the low of the bar is going to be on a short, for example, and get the trade placed even before the bar closes. So if you know there's a trade coming in or a trade that you're waiting for, if you learn the system well enough, you can anticipate where the bar is going to finish. Because, like, for example, with crude oil, let's just take a look here and I'll show you what I mean. Even though this was a losing trade, it's probably a good example. So you know you're getting a long trade due to the blue bars here. And you know, well, you don't know you're going to have three dots unless you understand what makes the three dots. But let's just say you do. And you could look at this bar while it's forming. There's a couple things that happen here. Like, this looks like it went way too fast, right? Whenever you see a little tail that stabs up and goes down, usually it's too fast to execute. Not always. I'll often open up a 10-second chart and see if I could have executed it if I'm back testing. I want to make sure that's tradable or not. But right here, when the bar is forming, you know the low is at 73.31. And as long as that low stays at 73.31, you know the high is going to be 73.39, right? It's 8 ticks. So you can learn to anticipate when the bar is going to close. Now, when it gets to 39, it still needs the next bar to go one tick beyond in order to close the bar and open a new bar. That's the difference between a momentum range bar and a regular range bar. The momentum range bar needs the price to go one tick beyond the range to close the bar and open the new bar. So you can anticipate where the entry is. So if you know the high is at 39 and you know that the entry is 2 ticks above the high, you could already have your trade placed at 41. Provided that you know there's a trade setup coming. So let's say you don't know that. Let's say that it all happens really fast and it triggers in and then comes down. Well, guess what? You can still place the trade and you grab it when it comes up a second time. Right here. Of course, the trade loses. That's not the point. But you often have multiple chances to get in on a trade. You have to know the rules, of course. If it hit a money management level or if it stopped out, obviously, then you don't get in sync with the trade. So it takes some practice. So like right here, with the 3 bars closing higher, there's a good chance we're going to get 3 dots. And there's your 3 dots. So now we're looking for a setup bar, but it has to be a bar that closes up above the green line. And you can see by the low of this the bar here, the low is at 28, and the green line is at, the low is at 72.78 and the green line's at 72.90. So this next bar has no chance to get above the green line. So you know that's not going to be a long setup no matter what. So you just get used to looking at the range of things, and it takes a little practice and a little training, but that's the beauty of a momentum bar, is that you can anticipate where the highs and lows could be. Now you just have to be careful that the low could change, and then that changes the high also. So you still have to be on your toes. Yeah, sure, we'll cover that. So, all right, I'll show you an example. This trade just happened. This is one of the trade plan trades. I'll show you in a moment. Let me grab it. Actually, let me close something really quick to make sure I don't crash TradeStation, because I opened up some stuff. Let me close that. All right. Let's see. So this is a scalp and run. One of the scalp and run trade plans in unleaded gas. It's kicking butt. Just grab it really quick here. Yeah, this trade is definitely, you guys are going to like this strategy a lot, I think. I'm really more interested in it with unleaded and heating oil than with the other two energies. I mean, those are like the two that I think are the ones you want to really pay attention to. They seem to give you the most bang for your buck, so to speak. But so here's a trade plan. Let me explain it in a way that makes sense. 1 second. Different variations for different things. So let's look at something here. So this is one of my, I call this a test. It's like a model. From this is where specific trade plans come from. So this is a trade plan that literally takes every single trade without any power of quitting. It's not how I would recommend, but I use it to show robustness. And it takes every single trade between the hours of 8:45 and noon. Okay? So literally since as far back as I could look, which is January 2021, over 7 months ago, it's over 1,656 trades. And it keeps making new equity highs. It's pretty good. And it doesn't even have the, let me see something. Yeah, anyway, I don't need to, it's just a single contract. But anyway, yeah, it's one of my models. So you might think, okay, here's the setup. Let's go through these a few times. So here's the next three trades right here. So you got this trade setting up. It's a range bar, 20 ticks. And you could see the high is 22.60. So you know the low, when it finally closes, will be 22.40. And if you know the strategy, which you will, you'll know there's a short coming. And then it triggers in, and maybe that's too fast. Well, it's like 20. It's not too fast, because 22 seconds later, it closes right on the entry. And then you have another bar after. So you got plenty of time to place that trade, which comes down and hits a target 2. I like to go to target 3 and 4 on this plan. Then you have a long trade, and it's very similar. You know what the low is. It's at 2.225. So you know 2.245 is going to be the high. And that one triggers in probably enough time to get it like 25 seconds before it closes. Maybe not. And then if you don't have enough time, you're lucky because maybe you avoid a losing trade. So that's maybe good news. Same thing. The high is 37. The low is going to be 17. That one gives you multiple chances to get in on the trade. So you're going to catch that one. And you're going to be a happy scalp and runner. It's not as intimidating as it appears or how it may seem. You just got to kind of roll with the punches and realize you can't control everything. And yeah, some trades are just not going to be tradable. Oh well. I'm not going to cry you a river over that. Just going to wait for the next setup, which incidentally just happened for a almost target 3 break-even trade. The scalp and run wants to get you into break-even as fast as possible. It looks like it's about ready to hit its target 3. Let's see if it does. Maybe not. But here you can see what a range bar looks like. You can see it doing its thing, trading within that 20-tick range. So the low's at 78. It already has 98. This bar has 20 ticks of range. But remember, the momentum bar needs to have 1 tick beyond for the new bar to form. And it looks like now this one's going to stop out at break even, which it did. You could take profit at target too. I mean, that's a real high percentage trade. 28 ticks. I think it's like, what's that, 107 bucks? Have to do the math. 28 times 420. You could. You'll win more, obviously. So now look, this could be a short trade. You got the high of 57. So the low's got to get down to 37. And if the entry is 2 ticks below that, and then key level, of course, now the high just changed to 62. So now the low is going to be 42. So you have to keep an eye on that. Well, there's no counter punch on this. You got your strategies confused. Catapult is not counter punch. Totally different strategy. But see how fast that triggered in? That one may have gone too fast. It did hover, but it hovered below the entry. So maybe that's a missed opportunity, unless you anticipated the high at 62, the low at 42. You could have had your trade put in at 39. This says 40 because I don't have key level adjustments turned on because it's a continuous chart. If it was not a continuous chart, I'd be using key level adjustments. So you'd place your trade at 39 based on knowing where the high of the bar is. So it was tradable. It was just an advanced execution. It's something you have to practice and get good at. Oh, thanks for that, John. Yeah, so remember, there is a 10 a.m. mini session. The 9 a.m. was one and done. We saw all those winning trades, plenty of opportunities. So the 10 a.m. starts so luckily missed a losing trade on that. So the first trade comes here at 10:09, and you can see that one broke through and hit a 16 tick target for 160 bucks. So that was one and done. 10 a.m. mini session on Spotlight. So just giving you guys a little pre-look, little look at the energy futures. It's unleaded. I got a couple models where it's just trading every single trade, and it's got over 1,000 trades and keeps making new equity highs. It's like unbelievable. Of course, you do better with the strict power of quitting, because then you get the higher average net profit and the higher profit factor and the higher win rate and stuff. The CPX2 is out of date. Not really. I mean, Counterpunch is just timeless. It works the same today as it's worked every day since I came out with it over 7 years ago. Out of date in that I have newer strategies since then. But Counterpunch, for the price, I mean, what's better than Counterpunch Express? Literally, one winning trade pays it. You own it for life. I mean, we just looked at soybeans. You could have done that on Counterpunch Express. That was one and done. Just winner after winner after winner. It's almost too many trades to follow. Where was it? Way back here. Came all the way down. It's not that it's out of date. It's just that I got a lot of strategies. Spotlight came after Counterpunch. It borrows some of the Counterpunch concepts. I use Counterpunch in the crude oil inventory report every week. Like I'll use it tomorrow. In fact, let's look at how it did today. So here's Counterpunch on crude oil. And whether it's Counterpunch Express or Counterpunch Trader, it's the same trades. Counterpunch Trader does some more things for us automatically that you need to kind of do with your brain with Counterpunch Express too. That's the difference between a entry level and the full version, or the light version. I don't even like to call it entry level because it definitely is great. I mean, it does the same stuff. You just have to know to do key level adjustments on your own, or some of the other filters. You just have to know how to do that. So this trade plan, there's a 8:50 start or a 9 a.m. start. You just kind of have to choose which one you like best. They both seem to work pretty well. So here we go at 8:50, and that one came down, and you're going to want to get to target 2 with Counterpunch, not target 1 with this chart. And it doesn't get there. It's going to stop out for a couple ticks. So here's the 9 a.m. trade. This is the second trade if you start at 8:50, or the first trade if you start at 9 a.m. And that comes up and gets to break even and then hits its targets. So regardless of when you started, 8:50 or 9, winning session. So, I mean, how out of date is that? Doesn't seem out of date to me. Works the same today as it did 7 years ago. It's timeless. I don't share the same success on Forex pairs. You seem to trade a lot. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're doing with Forex. If you're using Counterpunch with Forex, it works pretty good, but are you testing it properly? You got to test your trade plans before you start trading. You got to prove that the trade plan is going to work. Otherwise, you're just kind of relying on luck. Forex isn't the easiest market to trade in general. There's just things about it that make it more challenging. I think futures are 10 times easier. Forex could be super slow. It taxes your patience. You got spread. You got brokers who are trying to take you out. They're not your friend. They're your enemy. They can manipulate the spread anytime they want. There's just things about Forex that make it, I think, less desirable to trade than futures. Futures is really just for day trading, I just don't see how there's a comparison. Futures, it's just easier. First of all, it's all centralized on a reputable exchange. Forex is just the wild, wild west, and the broker can do whatever they want. Well, Ari, you seem to be confusing what a trade plan is. I mean, a trade plan includes the indicators that you're using. I mean, in your mind, what's a trade plan? In my mind, it's trading a specific symbol a certain way with a start time, a stop time, goals, something that you can go back and test and get measurable results and prove that it works. And so I always say start with the 3-step sniff test because that economizes your time. So if I'm looking to day trade a Forex pair, let's just say that, very simple idea. I'm going to look at probably 10 to 12 different possibilities with counterpunch. Say that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at a pound US 5-minute. Well, I don't know. Are you using, it depends on if you're using MT4 or not. Because if you're using MT4, you're kind of limited to what MT4 can do. So then you're looking at 5-minute charts probably. If you're using other charting platforms, then you could start considering momentum bars and range bar or tick charts and time-based charts. You have more possibilities to trade, to build a trade plan with. But the idea is you want a fast test. You go through the 3-step sniff test. First, you decide if there's enough trades in a session based on your basic idea. Counterpunch is great because you could see the entry, you could see the targets, you could see the stop, you could see the trade. You could easily figure it out just by looking. Look at 20 sessions and see if the trades are, if there's enough in your session when you want to trade. That's sniff test 1. Sniff test 2 is determine if the trades are an appropriate size. Are they too big? Are they too small? What's the average size trade? With a 5-minute chart, trading during the times when Forex trades with most activity, you're probably fine. With a pound US, a euro US, some others. So the third test is the most important. You have a start time, a stop time, and trading goals. What is your goal? Any target of 10 pips or more. If you hit that, you take some money, you win. That's the minimum goal. Obviously, you want to make more, but that's your minimum goal. And if you could achieve that on the first trade, that's a winning session. Maybe it takes more than one trade. And so the third test is counting whether you can quit your session with a winner a vast majority of the time with minimal and efficient trading. And if you could do a fast test on 10 to 12 different possible charts, and 1 or 2 or 3 of them is going to jump out at you as being spectacular. You let the cream rise to the top, and the best fast test results will show themselves to you. Which ones can you quit positive the most? You look at 100 sessions. Yeah, it takes some time, but it's a fast test. It's worth it. But once you have that, once you have the results of your fast test, then you could dedicate work with the UTA spreadsheet and build a log of trades and really prove your trade plan is going to make you money. I mean, you got to treat it like a business. And if you do the pre-production work, you'll be successful. Otherwise, you're just shooting from the hip and hoping for the best. That doesn't end up well for most people. So, what scalp? Yeah, so I mean, you have to define what your objective is. So for me, part of my trade planning is the idea that I want to take what the market wants to give me, not what I want from the market. Because the market really doesn't care what I want. I could take what the market wants to give me. And the counterpunch is smart enough to know how to adjust itself and give you the appropriate trade for that specific situation. So you might be more interested in a 15-minute chart, for example, and those could do really well too, but you're just going to be tied to your charts for just hours on end, much longer. So you have to determine if that's even realistic for you. If you're going to day trade, you have to then decide, what does that mean for you, sitting in front of your computer all day long? Because if you're going to trade with slower, bigger charts, then it's just going to take tons more time. That's why we like the fast charts. It's not about scalping, it's just about taking what's there. So day trading can be done in a way where you can get in, get out, be done every day quickly. And then you just use power of compounding to grow your account over time. Once you have a plan that you've proven to yourself. If you can't prove it to yourself, you're not going to have anything to trade that you could rely on that's going to make you money. Ram says, what are good hours for the trade plan for catapult trades on energy? I like around, somewhere in the 9 a.m.-ish, but there's other times. I mean, it works all around the clock, really. But I think somewhere in that 9 a.m.-ish time is pretty good, but it just seems to work throughout the day. I mean, we're at, what is it now, 10:30? We're at 10:30, and I mean, who wants to, you want to start at 10 a.m.? These are the trades that have happened since we've been talking about it. I showed you this trade when it was happening, and we started talking about range bars. And then this one happened that was too fast that we watched. Or was it this one? I forget. This one wasn't too fast. Maybe this one was. But that one came back up and came within a tick or two of hitting the entry. So, I mean, I don't know. That's what happened anyway. The trades are there, right? Yeah, Crypticon, yes, the UTA spreadsheet is part of that. You can get it now. I mean, if you've joined the Catapult Energies boot camp, then you should have received your login details. And if you didn't, you need to check your email or send me an email, and I'll send it to you again. You can log into the member site. The UTA spreadsheet's already there. You can go get it like right now if you want. Yeah, look at crude. What happened? Imagine that. Well, I don't mind crude going down. So, I mean, we're looking at this on Spotlight, but let me put on Counterpunch. Let me put on Counterpunch. In fact, what I'll do is I'll take that 377 tick chart and we'll put it on an 8-bar momentum, an 8-tick momentum bar. So Ari, I still didn't hear from you. What charting you're using? Are you using MT4 or are you charting with something a little bit more capable? Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that, and hopefully you're using FX Synergy to manage your trades for you so you could scale in and out. I use a Wanda and MT4. I just don't use MT4 charts. I'm using TradeStation charts and then placing the trade into FX Synergy through MT4 into a Wanda. That's how I do it. Yeah, you got it, Crypticon. And I'm getting all the training videos should be ready shortly on the YouTube channel. Had to reproduce them because they're really old. Old like me. So here's counter. Oops, what happened? I thought I did 0.08. Yeah, momentum 0.08. Oh, one. There we go. That was weird. So there's the entry at 73.68. So with I mean, obviously all the shorts are where all the money's at. You could see all those green trades. Sometimes when I'm looking at counterpunch, all I want to do is look at the green trades. I'll turn off the white and purple trades because I understand what the trades do so well, and the green trades have their own unique thing, and you can get really good at that one setup only. You don't have to use all the setups. If you're learning counterpunch, you can turn off the white and purple, maybe leave the purple on, but I like to look at just the green trades. Obviously, I got add-on trades on, but they're the ones that caught that move all the way down. Yeah, you don't have futures on MT4 unless you have a European Forex account where you can trade currencies against commodities or crypto, and that's kind of cool. Mariella asking old like me. Yeah, Counterpunch Trader I'm referring to. Counterpunch Trader is old like me. JP, I don't know. Is it not working? I have to check on that. I don't remember. Yeah. So the indicators will be available probably the night before the boot camp. So we're getting closer. Old is gold. Thanks, Miles. Mariella's giving me a hard time. No, says CC expired. Credit card expired? Huh. Yeah, Ari, you've got the MT4 charts work fine with counterpunch. The hard thing about MT4 is trying to use those charts, which are super old like me, to backtest. I mean, you could do it, but it's quirky and it's not as easy as the better charts. So, I always say if you skimp on tools, you pay the price. You want the best charts because that's the most important tool for trading. Charts and data. Ron, I'll send that to you. I thought I did actually. I could resend it. So Ari, what I always talk about, if you don't have the best charts, think of one-legged butt-kicking contest. So you're hopping around on one leg. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about using the indicator on the best charts, though. Yeah, you got a good strategy. Now you got to get the charts. They work on MT4. Don't get me wrong. They do. They work fine. But try back testing 100 sessions on MT4. It's just harder. You could do it. Not saying you can't. Some people are really good with MT4. I'm not one of those people. But I think one-legged butt kicking contest and everyone's on two legs. You don't want to be the only guy on one leg still hopping around. That's the metaphor. In my view, there is no perfect charting platform. Every charting platform has its issues. Every one. There's nothing perfect. I'm trying to encourage you. I just gave you a plan. You gotta do some pre-production work. If you follow my advice and do the 3-step sniff test on a number of charts with a very simple trading plan, start time, stop time, goals, and the strategy with CPX2, you can fast test and determine which one you'll be able to quit positive most of the time within the time that you want to trade. That's the first step for you. If you do that, everything's going to change for you. But if you're not going to do that, then you're probably going to continue to be frustrated. Even if you go to a different strategy, the problem still exists. You have to prove it first if you really want to make money doing it. And you're not the only one. We all have to go through that. Yeah, okay, so no, it's not. Well, yeah, 4 hours is difficult because 4 hours requires being aware of your charts every 4 hours. That's difficult just because it's a 4 hour. But you could easily fast test. Instead of fast testing sessions, you fast test trades. You just count winning and losing trades. You know, the pound yen 4-hour trade plan that I created for Counterpunch Express 2, it's a derivative of the one we use for the full counterpunch. And that's been winning 80+% of its trades for over 10 years. So there's a starting place for you. You can start with that. The problem with the 4-hour chart is that you get a setup, right? Let's say you have a setup. I don't have any examples to show you. Let me see if I can find an example. I have an example of the Counterpunch Trader, but I have a Counterpunch Express example too. It's on the member site. You could set it up. But I'll show you this just to make my point. 4-hour charts produce good trades. I mean, this trade plan has won 85% for over 10 years. I got the automation on here too. But here's the problem with the trade plan like this. Let me find an example. So this, if you're following the trend mode or not, it makes a difference. But let's just say you have the setup right here, right? This plan's pretty cool because it only looks at a 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. bar. So 2 bars a day will give you a setup bar, and all the other bars won't. So it's unique in that regard. 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. And so you can see that setup's at 4 p.m., right? 1600 New York time. So here's the problem. It doesn't trigger in until 3 bars later. That's 12 more hours. Well, look at this one. Here's a setup, and that's at 4 p.m. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, 16 bars later, it cancels. So that means every 4 hours you need to pay attention to your chart, right? Not everyone can do that day after day after day going forward into life. 3 weeks later, 6 weeks later, on your way to the dentist, driving as fast as you can because you're late. And all of a sudden you get a message from your cell phone that your 4-hour chart, the setup just canceled or whatever. Now you got to pull off the road and deal with it, right? It's hard to live with that. That has nothing to do with Counterpunch Trader. It has to do with the 4-hour chart. It's just hard to manage day in and day out. My opinion. Other people might think otherwise. That's fine. Like if I were doing this, one thing I would do is I would drop horizontal lines And when the price hits it, it would send a message to my cell phone and alert me. So that's something you could do with TradeStation. Can you do it with MT4? I guess you probably could. I just don't know how. There's probably some plug-in that lets you do it, right? So you have to use tools to help you trade when you have these long, slow bars, because you just can't be tied to your computer every 4 hours, 24/7 from now until forever. That's no way to live, in my opinion. Some people think otherwise. Fine. I would rather swing trade with a daily chart, because at least I know the bar ends once a day, and I can spend 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes a day looking at my daily chart and place and manage trades. And then once in the morning, because maybe it went through some targets and I need to move my stop. And that's it. And with a daily chart, you can manage your life. You could probably handle a dozen pairs. You could test and prove each and every one and build it step by step. And then you've got a great trading program that doesn't take over your life, but you can still prove it first. So from my point of view, that's how I would be doing it. That's the way I think Forex should be traded. Just saying. Everyone's seduced by the beautiful trades they see on the 60-minute chart, the 240-minute chart. Yes, there are some nice-looking trades, and you could look back and see them. And it takes you all but 5 seconds to look at it and go, oh, wow, what a great trade. But what you don't realize is how many hours passed for that trade to occur and how that feels like in your life day in and day out. And then you start living it and realizing that's pretty hard. Again, I'm just kind of telling you what I've learned. You might have a different feeling about it and a different opinion, and that's fine. But Forex, in my view, is best either day traded within a short amount of time, 1 to 2 hours a day, if you can. Sometimes it takes longer, but on average. Or swing trading with daily charts so that you only spend a few minutes a day, and then you take advantage of big trades. You'd have to be slow and patient with that. Again, it's only my opinion, but that's what I think. Ram asking, once we test and like a trade plan, what is the process for turning on automation? What are the pros and cons? So automation is, you can learn how to trade with automation, not with Forex, unless you're a ninja, maybe, I don't know, but with futures. But you have to just monitor it. You have to be ready to step in and turn it off and take physical control of your trade, because things can and will go wrong. It's inevitable. And the automation cannot think for itself. So it's going to give you that long trade, even though you might have adjusted it 3 ticks higher above major resistance. And instead of avoiding a loser, the automation puts you in, and then you lose. But if you were manually trading, you would have used your brain and the 5% arch trading, and you would have moved your entry up 3 more ticks and avoided the long trade, which lost. So there's that. You're welcome, Mariella. I'm not sure what you're agreeing to, but you're welcome. The other thing about automation is it's based on the close of the bar, right? So let's say, for example, the price stabs up and hits the money management where you'd move your stop to break even, and then comes down and closes lower. It depends on the chart you're using. Like, that shouldn't happen in a range bar, but it could happen in a time-based chart or a tick chart, right? So it hits money management, you'd move your stop to break even, then it comes down and closes lower. Well, the break even is going to go after the bar closed, but you would have done it intra-bar to protect your position manually, right? So what are you going to do? Jump in, turn off the automation, and move your stop manually. It's not easier, it's harder. It could be easier. I mean, maybe 90% of the time it's easier. It's the 10% of the time that's harder. So you can learn that. You can practice it like anything else. The other thing with automation is what it's really good at is getting the answers to big questions. Like, how do we know that the balance line set to 9 is the best balance line for this particular chart? Well, you could use the optimization on the automation to test and get results on different balance line lengths and settings and stuff. For example, or the entry. How do you know 2 ticks is better than 4 ticks or whatever? So the automation is great for that sort of thing. John Ford, my pleasure. Oh, maybe Mariella was agreeing with you. At what time does a new daily bar start on a Forex chart? Tremendous, good question. So if you're on Owanda, for example, that's the other thing is, here's the thing. TradeStation, what I use, gives you the timestamp of the bar that closed. And MT4 gives you the timestamp of the open of the bar. So that's a little peculiar. So on TradeStation, it closes at 5 p.m. New York time. Yeah, so GMT obviously is different from New York, and I think it's a 5-hour difference. But I use the timestamp of the exchange, and TradeStation is New York time. So here's a look at Counterpunch on a pound US daily chart. I just happen to have it open, so I'll show you. So Ari, this is what I think you should be doing. Whoops, that didn't help. Hold on. Copy. Paste. Yeah, so here's a look at the pound US. It's got all the setups. I would probably just study the green trades to start with and get good at the best green trades. And you can learn what the best green trades are, and I'll tell you what they are. Usually, it's when you get the final set of dots on top, the green trade will be the next set of dots that's either equal or lower. And the closer it is to equal, little lower, the higher percentage that trade is to win. And so you can see this one's pretty good. It's not that far from the reversing trade, which is the white trade. The white trade canceled, and the next set of dots gave you a newer trade, the green trade. The white trade would have won also, actually. But you can just learn to focus on those. You could turn on add-on trades. This is obviously a nice trade too, because this is a Spotlight Power Trader trade. This is how Spotlight was invented, is when I noticed the exhaustion dots against that 50 moving average early on in a trend. Those ended up being really great trades. So that's a Spotlight trade. It's also a Counterpunch trade. And you have the ability in Counterpunch Express to open the calculator, just like in the full Counterpunch, and show add-ons. So if you set that to true, you're going to get more trading opportunities on those green trades. And then you could build positions. So just going to target one is worth 95 pips. Took 3 days to get there. Well, this indicator works great for swing trading, but you have to change a few things. You got to learn your strategy and what it can do. A swing trade is not appropriate to maybe have a 2-pip breakout for the entry. So what I'm using, and I pretty much use the same configuration on all my daily charts, I'm using a 20-pip entry and a 10-pip stop. So you just got to change it to scale because you got a larger scale, right? A daily bar is just so much larger. So by going with the 20 pips instead of 2 pips, I clean up some false entries. You have a great strategy. You just need to learn how to use it. You still got to read price charts. Like if you take this, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Turn off everything except the green trades. Got to go step by step. You can't just learn everything all at once like a fire hose. Don't want to drink from a fire hose. Go step by step. Just go with the green trades only. And look for trades that are early when a market turns. So when a market turns and you look for trend direction, you could use a variety of tools for that. So this market turns on that final set of exhaustion dots. You know it's the final set because there's nothing that goes higher. The next one is lower. So that first set of lower dots after the market turns is often a really good trade. And you can just learn to focus on that and nothing else and make that a specialty. For example, and we're just looking at a random chart here, but you could easily go back and count 100 trades in the past and get a quick winning percentage and then see. Or you can, there's a number of ways, but you could fast test it and you could back test it. So I think Counterpunch works great for swing trading and for swing trading Forex. It's what we use with our Spotlight FX alert service, which is up thousands of pips since we started. So using this exact chart configuration. Well, except it has all 3 colors, not just the green trades. It has the white and purple also. And it doesn't use add-ons. You could turn those off if they're too complicated. Start simple. Trading doesn't happen by itself. That's the thing. A trader has to learn how to be successful. You got to find your style. You got to find the style that's going to work for you. Whoops. Sometimes maybe all you need are the exhaustion dots and the balance line, and you could do a lot just with that and then trade any way you want. Counterpunch offers you a way to trade, but it's not the only way to use the tools. I meant to turn off the add-ons. So focusing on that first green trade after reversal produced this trade here that just stopped out yesterday down here. So that last trade, 72 pips, 118 pips, 165 pips, and then the trailer. And using FX Synergy, you could scale out 25% here, 25% here, 25% here, 25% on your trailer. It's not that complicated. Got to learn the strategy, of course. Some trades lose. The green trade's not going to be good when a trend ends, right? The green trade is more of a trend following setup. The reversal trade would be your white trade. All the setups do work together, but you can learn to specialize on the high percentage green trades. And like I said, that's when you see the reversal and then the next set. And the closer it is to that reversing set, the better it's going to do. And you can learn to specialize and wait for those. See if I can find. Yeah, so, all right, here's a reversal set of dots, right? It's the last one. There's nothing lower. Then you have a new one that's a little higher, but it's not that close. It's still the first one, and it's a pretty big winner. I mean, it goes all the way up. I mean, it misses target 3 by a fraction, but you got targets 1 and 2 in the trailer. So you're going to take 25% off for 183 pips, 25% off for 285 pips, and then the other 50% off will come off at your stop right here. That first green trade after the reversal, if you focus on that, don't take them when they're really far away like this one. Look how far this is from the reversal, and that trade fails. You want to get the ones where the next set is close to the reversing set, and focus on that. And then you have an easy trade plan. Here's another one. Here's the lowest set of 3 dots. And then the next set, it's not as close as maybe we'd like, but it's right on the 50 moving average, which has been trending higher, pushing up towards the 200. That's another great trade. That's a counterpunch trade. I mean, a spotlight trade where the proximity is right near the 50 moving average. So there's another one you could focus on, are those. And there's a great trade right there. Perfect. And you could put this on however many pairs you want and go back and test. Set a simple set of rules. So your rules could be find the reversal, next set, green trade. The closer the better. If it gets too far, you'll just learn. You'll learn the ones that don't work as well. Here's another great example. Last trade, last set of dots, reverses higher, next set up, winning trade. See? I mean, they're all over the place. Here's one. It's a reversing set here, and then the next set is pretty close. Look how close that is. It's only a couple pips lower. Winning trade, perfect target 3. It missed by a hair. I'm just going backwards. This one, you can see how much farther up the dots are. That trade struggles. Doesn't quite have enough, but it does stop and reverse here, and you only lose a tiny bit. So even if you take that, it hardly loses anything. Anyway, that's a real easy trade plan, Ari. You can figure that one out. Turn off everything except the green trades. This is a daily chart. It's easy to test. You could look at however many pairs you want and just choose the very best ones and build your plan little by little. And then you have a plan with enough activity because you have enough pairs, and it only takes you a few minutes a day. And that's it. And then be patient. You will have some losing trades, but you'll win at a high percentage. And you'll pick the best pairs if you go through that level of testing. You prove it to yourself first, and then you practice and get really good at it. And you learn. You can't expect to be an expert right away, but you'll certainly be better at it 6 months from now than you are today. You just stay with it. Stick with it. Use FX Synergy on a VPS. So you got it running 24/7 on a VPS. You got a Wanda MT4 with your FX Synergy on a VPS. You log into it just like you would anything else. You open it up in a browser. You place your trades, and you do it in the evening, and you check it once in the morning. And maybe 5 to 15 minutes on average a day, depending on how many pairs you're monitoring. Some days you'll have nothing. Some days you'll have 4 or 5 trades. Some days you just have to move a stop or cancel a setup. And there you go. It's a pretty simple plan. It does not impose on your life. It can be extremely successful. You can get really good at it. And you can use power of compounding over time and grow it. And you could probably do it in an IRA retirement account if you wanted. To me, that's the best way to trade Forex. My opinion. All right, guys. Well, any other questions before we say goodbye? Ari, I hope that helped. I mean, you have a great strategy, but I mean, a master carpenter could have all these great tools too, but that doesn't mean they're just going to instantly be able to build a house. They have to learn how to build a house and how to use the tools to build the house. This is not anything different. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the session. Everyone have a wonderful day. John will be in tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'll be in to do the crude oil report. One of us will. I'm going to let John know when I figure out things. I got to shuffle some stuff around in my schedule. Yeah, JP. I'll give you a buzz in a moment. Everyone have a wonderful day. Ari, I hope that helped. And I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.